Chapter 107. The crowd believed Alex, and all of them really wanted to go home to check out the WWE channel immediately. The expression on Mr. Lane's face was hideous right then, and after keeping silent for a short while, he finally regained his senses. This was embarrassing. The bodyguards he had hired and paid so much money for were all professional fighters that he had specifically recruited to protect him. Who would have expected? Who would have expected a young boy who came from nowhere to actually defeat all of these professional fighters, just by watching a television program? Mr. Lane was not a professional fighter, and so, he did not know that Alex was actually very skillful. However, his bodyguards were not stupid. They knew that he was an expert as soon as he laid hands on them. Even though Alex was very humble, his moves were very deadly even when he did not use any strength at all. He was not someone they could easily defeat. Hence, the bodyguards did not step forward, but instead, they looked at Alex with a curious expression on their faces. Trump, who was watching from the sidelines, did not know anything about fighting, and so, he merely assumed that Alex was simply lucky and that he was just a little more robust than the bodyguards. Trump did not know that Alex's moves were in fact very professional and skilled. Alex smiled at Mr. Lane as he asked, "So, are you coming to get me yourself, then?" "You! Don't come over!" Mr. Lane was so intimidated that he was breaking out in cold sweat. He subconsciously took a few steps back. When Alex saw how frightened he was, he took a few steps forward and walked toward him. Mr. Lane stared at him in horror as he continued backing away. If Alex threw him to the ground the way he had thrown one of his bodyguards earlier, he would definitely be hospitalized for another 1 month. Suddenly, a black Mercedes turned in from the corner of the street before parking not too far away. The driver got out of the car before opening the car door for the owner of the vehicle. Mr. Lane was overjoyed when he saw the person who had just arrived in the black Mercedes. "Sister! Someone is bullying and threatening to beat me up. Come and save me." Alex raised his head, and he could see the crowd making way for a woman dressed in black, tight-fitting sportswear as she walked toward them. The tight-fitting sportswear outlined the woman's figure perfectly, and she had a very fierce and heroic face. "That's Watson Lane's sister. Daisy Lane." Someone in the crowd suddenly yelled in shock before there was an uproar in the crowd. Watson pleaded once again, "Sister, this young boy is threatening to beat me up. Please help me teach him a lesson." After Daisy approached the both of them, she glanced at the bodyguards who were lying on the ground before glaring at Alex with a cold expression on her face. "Were you the one who beat them up?" Alex replied flatly, "So, what if I did? What is wrong with that?" Daisy sneered before she replied, "I want you to apologize to my brother immediately." "What if I refuse to do so?" "Then, I will beat you up until you apologize to him." Before she had even finished her sentence, Daisy had already raised her leg to kick Alex in the face. Alex was taken aback because it seemed as though this woman's fighting skill was much better compared to the previous bodyguards that he had fought. Her kick was very powerful and fast, and it seemed as though she was a professional fighter. Watson looked at this scene before saying, "My sister will definitely kick your ass." His sister had been training on how to fight for many years. She was a very professional fighter who was very skillful and talented, and not many people could defeat her if they were to engage in a fight with her. However, Watson's eyes suddenly widened at the very next moment.